Everybody, I'm Becky Adams. Thank you for stopping by my YouTube channel today. Today I have a layout, just a single page 12 by 12 layout that I am going to create using the October 2020 Hip Kit Club Kit. Whew, that's a mouthful. Anyway, so let's just jump in and get started. I am using one 4x6 photo today, just a family photo. The background I'm using is this pattern paper, this pink diamond paper. It is a Hip Kit Club exclusive. And I don't know if you can see it. Hopefully you can see it on camera. I went ahead and stitched with my sewing machine along all of these lines. In retrospect, I probably wouldn't do that again. It doesn't show up as well as I wanted it to, but it's done. It gives it a little bit of texture, and it was a fun stitching project. So this pattern paper is exclusive to Hip Kit Club. They had this paper designed specifically for this kit. Really cute pattern papers in this kit. Some of them are exclusives, and some of them are from the most recent fall collection from Simple Stories. So I'm gonna place my photo right down here, but I'm not going to adhere it just yet. I want to kind of lay things out and make sure that I have my placement correct before I start sticking things down. So I want this frame to go around this photo. I went ahead and did some machine stitching on this chipboard frame, and I do love how this turned out. I would do this again. The stitching is a really fun detail, and it shows up so well on this chipboard. I'm just gonna reach my T-square ruler out, and I'm gonna go ahead and adhere this photo. But I want to make sure and use my T-square ruler to make sure that I get it adhered straight. Kind of everything else in the layout is going to be based on the photo as the focal point, so I don't want to mess up the placement. Make sure I've got everything straight here. I'm going to go ahead and push that down really well. And then I will adhere the chipboard frame. I'm just going to adhere on the top and bottom with just a little bit of liquid adhesive, so that, because I still want to be able to tuck a couple of things in on this right hand side. Okay, and I went with a liquid adhesive to adhere this because it is chipboard and because it's stitched and my background stitched. I want to make sure that it stays in place. So I've got this Smart Craft Glue from Scrapbook.com. I'm just gonna get that in place. Okay, and while that's drying, I we'll add the title, which is Making Memories. And actually, I am not going to adhere that right now because I'm not sure whether I want it to go down at the bottom or up at the top. I'm thinking down at the bottom. But I have these 3 tags here that I fussy cut from a piece of pattern paper from the Simple Stories collection. And I went ahead and did a little bit of machine stitching. I'm going to use 2 of the tags over here on this edge and 1 up here. So I'm going to trim these down a little bit because I don't want all of that. I'm going to trim this one down a little bit further than the other one because I want them to be a little offset. Go ahead and adhere those right there, and then that one above it. And I'll probably go back in with a little bit more of that liquid adhesive and adhere that. Adhere this edge of the chipboard down a little bit more. I've got 2 strips of pattern paper that I have torn the edges, and I did a little bit of machine stitching on those as well. I think I'm going to put that one right up there and this one right down here along the bottom. Okay, I'm actually going to trim this down just a little bit. Put a little bit of adhesive along the back and just tuck that under that chipboard frame there. And I'm lining up this end along right up there with the corner of that tag. Okay, I'm still thinking that will go right there, but I'm not quite ready to adhere it. But I am going to go up here and start working on this section up here. So I'm placing this little embellishment cluster up here because I want to offset kind of the heavy, there's a lot of weight at the bottom of the layout with, you know, my photo and title and embellishments, and I want to offset that a little bit with a little bit of embellishment up here. I apologize for my camera shaking. I will have to fix that for my next video. Whoops, it's a little piece of chipboard stuck there. Okay. We'll adhere that right there. I'm leaving a little spot right there because I want to stamp the date right there along on that tag. So I'm going to take this is just white cotton crochet thread. I use this all the time. I just pick up a roll at Walmart occasionally, but I use it all the time on my projects. So I'm just going to take I don't know, about 2 feet, maybe not quite 2 feet, And I'm going to loop it through this tag. And then I want to kind of loop it around so it brings it down to this other tag. So what I do is just exactly what you saw me do, is just take a length of it. I did one little loop. I think since I've got 2 strands, oh no, I was thinking about separating them, but I don't love how it looks having the thread or the twines. I think I just want to keep them together for the most part. And then I will take my fine tip glue and I just take it and I put a little bit on the back of the thread and then just drop it into place. And that way you don't have glue on your page where you don't want it, but it stays in place. And it just takes the tiniest bit of glue. Okay. And then with this other little bit of twine or thread, I don't know what you call it. I switch back and forth. I'm gonna do, I guess not, I'm gonna loop it through like I did on the tag up at the top, but maybe, there we go. But I'm not gonna leave the long kind of twirly I'm just going to loop it through and I'm going to tie a knot. Just about an inch. And then just trim it off. But I'm going to leave that one just with a knot tied. And then on this one, I will tie a bow. All right, so I need to trim the back of this off, or the excess of this tag down. Okay. We're getting there. We have the basic structure of the layout. I'm going to, now that I have that placed, I'm going to put some liquid adhesive right here to adhere that chipboard into place. I'm actually just going to set my scissors right there to hold that down. The next thing, I need to decide on the placement, and I do think that I'm going to put this right down here. Put the title there, and then my journaling strips right up here. So I printed my journaling. This is the American typewriter font, and I just printed it at, I believe, just a 12 point. And then I printed it out, just it's plain black and white printer paper, and put a strip of 1/4 inch adhesive on each one. Typically I would just leave that adhesive and that's all I would use to adhere my journaling strips, but since I stitched on this background, I am going to put a little bit of liquid adhesive. So I'm starting with the bottom strip and working my way up. And I'm doing that because I know I don't want to start up here and then have my journaling strip end here and have an awkward gap there. So I start with this one at the bottom. Sometimes I start at the top. It just depends on the layout. And with my journaling strips, I leave them about 1/4 to 1/8 of an inch apart. I'm going to use my T-square to just make sure that I get that straight. Okay. And then just move on to my next one. So the journaling on this layout is about this family photo. We were in Oregon visiting my brother, and we had gone apple picking, and it was in a beautiful apple orchard, and I just asked my niece to take a quick photo for me. If you'll notice on my journaling strips, I'm kind of bouncing where I leave the ends. I don't want them to end in a box, all at the same spot. So I'm just bouncing them a little bit, and that on this layout, it's really easy to know where to place them because I am just placing them where right up against my crochet thread there. Okay, there we go. So the journaling on this layout says, it's hard to find the courage to take family photos without Austin. I used to love taking family photos and took them as often as possible. Now I'm incredibly grateful for those photos. I know I'll be grateful for all of our family photos. Right now, it hurts to have family photos with 4 of us instead of 5. Okay, so moving on, I have just a few embellishments that I want to add to this page, and then we'll call it done. Before I add too much more to it, I do want to stamp the date. So I'm just using some black ink from scrapbook.com, and I already have the date set. I am just to double check that I've got everything how I want it. I'm going to stamp just on this little piece of this little scrap. So this photo was taken on October 29th, 2020. And there we go. Okay. And then to finish things off, I just have a few pieces of chipboard. These are all from Simple Stories. And they are adhesive chipboard, but I am going to use my own liquid adhesive. I have found, as I've been looking through my albums, that often chipboard does not hold. So I always just put a little bit of liquid adhesive on my chipboard pieces. So just take the backing off, and then I just put a little bit of liquid glue. I'm going to put this one down here towards the end of the title, and I do need to stick my title down as well. Once again, just taking the backing off. I'm going to tuck that one right there. And then to kind of, I guess, make those two chipboard pieces come together, I'm going to add this little piece of chipboard, that little chipboard flower. The finishing details on this layout are just a bunch of these little chipboard hearts. I want a couple down here. I'm just varying the color and the size. Put a couple, put one over here, the last one right up there. Okay, so I will call the layout finished at this point. So thank you so much for stopping by for this process video. If you're not a subscriber, I would love to have you hit that subscribe button so that you know when I have another video ready to go. I'd also love to have you follow me over on Instagram. I post sneak peeks and lots of layout and scrapbooking, memory keeping inspiration over there. So thank you again for stopping by, and I'll see you again soon in my next video.